How to start a small group from scratch in 4 easy steps on this special edition of the Better Sundays podcast. Welcome to the Better Sundays podcast. Focused, practical, and usable advice for church leaders looking to reach new young families and impact their community. Talking about how to start a small group from zero. If you have no one in the group and you would love to get a small group going, that's what we're going to cover today, and we're going to make it start from scratch. In other words, we're not talking about taking a Sunday school class and turning it into a Sunday school or a small group. We're not talking about a midweek service that gets downsized into a small group or broken up into a bunch of little small groups. We're talking about how to start a group from scratch. In other words, you've got like nobody, just the people that kind of attend your church, and you want to do some type of small group and get them studying the Bible and interacting together in a close-knit way. And there are so many benefits of small groups. We're not covering all the benefits here now, but if you want to learn how to start one from scratch, that's what we're going to cover here. So starting from zero, here's how you do it. The very first thing that you need to do if you're going to start from zero is to announce to the people, and we'll talk about how to do that in just a second, announce that you're going to be starting a small group from scratch, okay? And it's going to have, and you give the topic, and it's going to have a very simple topic. You don't start a group, just say, hey, so we can all get together and be warm and fuzzy and, that kind of stuff. There'll be some wonderful things that happen in your group, and there will be some warm and fuzzy, some emotional moments when people break down, and some powerful moments that happen in small groups, great stuff that happens, but you announce that you're going to start it with a very simple topic. Now, the best topic that I've ever found, and we've started them with prophecy, we started them with financial things, we've started them with marriage type things, but the best topic I have found is to say we're going to start a small group and we're going to do it on how to have effective devotions, how to have an effective daily time with God, and we're going to do it for just 4 weeks. You could even do it for 3 weeks if you'd like, but just make it a short and simple, not a long-term commitment. This is not something you join for the rest of your life. This is not a habit we want you to have from here on out. This is not a ritual or anything like this, but it's going to be a small and a simple 4-week group on how to have effective daily devotions. And you pick an off night or an off time to do it. Done them in the mornings, done them in the weekends, done them on like Saturdays and stuff. I've actually done Bible studies right after church, so that works pretty good actually. But an off night, Tuesday night, Thursday night, Wednesday night, whatever it happens to be, but make it short and simple, and it's going to be just for 4 weeks, and it's going to have a good attractional type topic that you want to use to disciple your people. Now, you can be the main leader of the church on this, the senior pastor, and do this, or you can do this as a Sunday school teacher, but however you want to do this, you can do this by just starting this real interesting topic and start it for just a short amount of weeks. So that is step number 1. Pick a very interesting topic and pick a calendar time when it's going to work and have it go for just 4 simple weeks and get it going. Step number 2. Okay, number 2, here's what we're going to do is you are going to invite people to it personally. Now, you can have these things announced in a bulletin. You can have them announced from the pulpit if you want. Those are some great things. But there is nothing like going up to a person and saying, I would like for you to come to my group. I would love for you to learn how to have effective devotions. And you can word that in a nice way and say, I'd love to have you do it. But you want to have a personal invitation. People respond to something like this. And this is a new type of commitment. This is something different for many people. They're going to be doing something out of their normal schedule, and it's going to take the power of a personal invitation to really cement that for them. Again, we put some announcements about this that we're going to be starting one, and then when I come up and talk to people about it, they're not, shocked with what's going on because they've already heard about it. But I invite personally. Now, a couple things that happens with the personal invitation. First of all, you create the one-on-one conversational bonding type of thing that small groups are famous for. In other words, it's not an announcement, it's not a pulpit thing. It's you're going to talk to people one-on-one. And when you do that, they often will have some questions, and you can talk to them. And this is what a small group is about, a lot more people-person, face-to-face interaction. relational kind of stuff. That is a powerful thing when you give that personal invitation like that. The second thing that happens when you give a personal invitation is that you are kind of going out on a limb. You are asking them, okay, to come. And it's a little bit more than just making a broad announcement. It's just something that is really powerful because they're seeing that you are risking on them. Now, the invitation also, by the way, you can't personally invite, if you have a church of 100 people, you can't invite 100 people to it. When you do the personal invitation, you have to pick some people that you think need to be there, and you need to limit that number. Now, we're going to talk about leading small groups in another video, and we're going to be talking about how to grow a small group in yet another video, okay? And you can find those at the end. There'll be a little link for these. You'll be able to get to those videos and that training as well. But what you need to do is make sure that you start out with the right number. Now, the best number that I have found for inviting people to a small group is around 20 people. And you might go, whoa, that's a lot of people. Well, they're just not all going to make it is what happens, okay? So you're going to get down. Here's what typically happens. You invite about 20. You'll have about 15 or so that respond and say, yes, I probably can make it. And then on the average time that you meet, you're going to have about a dozen. I have a group right now that I just started recently, just gave birth to a group. It's really cool. We had 11, I think, last week. It was just an awesome thing. But I invited about 20 and kind of got it down to about 11. We had 8, I think, a week before that. I think the week before that we might have had 13. So you're just going to kind of hover around in there. You get much more than 12, and the small group effect will not happen. You will have people that will not talk and clam up, and it just gets a little bit too big. Small groups are best from 8 to about 12, right in that range. If you invite about 20, that's what's going to happen. But you need to invite them personally and invite them to this interesting topic. So first thing, interesting topic. Second thing, okay, invite them personally to come to that. Third thing, okay, and you'll need to do this, and this is more probably a cultural thing more than anything else, but you need to remind them that they need to be there at the group on, we'll say, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And you see them all at church on Sunday. Don't forget, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. You can give them a little card, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Okay, you can send them a text, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. And I always send reminders out to my group and invite them, remind them is a really better word, to come, because they might miss a week, they might be sick, they don't have childcare, and they just like space it out. And in our society today, texting and reminding is not a bad thing. It's not like you're nagging them. It's not like you're, I don't want to treat them like a baby. They ought to be committed. These are new people that you're reaching that don't have these habits of, well, that's who I'm hoping you're inviting. Okay, let's back this up just a second. Folks, if you're going to start a small group from scratch, start it from scratch. Start with your newer people that need to come and start to learn the basic things of God. This is not necessarily a group for your deacons and elders and people, Sunday school teachers have been there. You may have a few of those in there. I like to have some seasoned people in my group. Okay, that sometimes is a very good strategy, but this is for new people, and they're not used to church, and they're not used to any of that stuff, and you need to remind them. I send text messages out. You can do it through Facebook group, Instagram messaging, a lot of different ways that you can connect with people and get them to come. And I always say, don't forget the time, place, and then it's like, here's the scripture. We're in Luke chapter 4. You don't forget to read that, because some of them, they'll blow it right off. But that is the third thing. After you invite them personally, is that you remind them. That is number 3, and remind them to get there. Now, the last thing here, and I'm going to touch on just a little bit of leading the group, but I really want you to go to the next video here, on leading the group, and it's going to be right, not down here, up here. One of these little, we'll put it in on the screen here where you can get to the next video on how to lead a group, and then there'll be another button there, another little card there to how to grow a small group, but they're all going to be right there for you. But you want to make sure that you are keeping things, they are short, and they are simple, and they're interactive, okay? Short, simple, interactive. SSI, if you can remember those initials. We keep our groups to 1 hour. Okay, now later on as a group matures, it may go longer than that. And believe me, people will stay longer than 1 hour, but I tell them we're going to be finishing at 1 hour, and we have like a, try to time it, get a closing prayer, kind of wrap things up and all that at the hour mark, because a lot of people have multiple things to do and they won't leave until they really feel as comfortable. So we will close in prayer, and then, hey, if you got any questions, hang around. And people hang around for a long time. I've had groups, where people have hung around for like 2 or 3 hours afterwards, and I'm like ready to fall asleep almost. But yeah, you're just trying to minister to those people and give them details, but we do release people at the 1 hour. So keep it short, keep it simple. In other words, there's a simple topic. So don't forget to read Psalm 143. Don't forget to read, Jeremiah 2, whatever the verses that you have. That you give them a simple chapter or something to read. That is where our studies are going to be. I have found that most people really, especially new believers, thrive on assignments, reading assignments. When you give them like homework, reading assignment, here's something I want you to do, make sure you read Luke chapter 4 before you come, that they will get that done. Because otherwise they don't have devotions, and this is a good time for them to have devotions. And since you're teaching on how to have effective devotions, you give them something to read. So very simple, short and simple. And the last thing here, and we'll dive into this in great details in this next video, on interactive. In other words, you want your groups to be not a teaching time where you as the senior guy, gal, teach all, and everyone, all the little sheep are there and they're learning, all your little students. No, not that way. It is interactive, and everybody talks. And we have a little rule, and we'll go through these in more detail, but everybody talks, but not one person does all the talking. Okay, and we're going to have everybody, I will teach you in this next group how to get every single person to pray out loud. I have people that prayed out loud in a group, and later on I was talking to, someone else or their wife, and they said, I can't believe you got him to pray out loud. Okay. It's just an amazing thing. I'll teach you how to do that in the next video. So anyway, how to start from scratch. Let me go through those things again. Real easy here. Make sure you have an interesting topic. Okay. Make sure that you do a personal one-on-one, face-to-face invitation. Talk to them, and don't make it rushed. I mean, take time and just say, hey, can I talk to you about something after church? And when they come up to you, say, yeah, let's go stand over here for a minute. Okay. Pull them aside a little bit. Can I have a word with you? Yeah. We're doing this thing on how to have effective devotions, and I think this would be really, really helpful for you and your husband to be able to come, or you and your wife to be able to come. And it's going to be on Tuesdays. I'm not sure if that day will work for you or not, but do you think you might be able to make it? Or tell you what, why don't you go home and think about it and let me know next week, because we start the following week. So personal invite like that, and then the remind, and get them there. And don't think that that's nagging every person. I've never had somebody say, oh, you're nagging, I don't need reminders like that. I don't have people like that. They're like, oh, thank you so much. I couldn't believe it was Thursday night already. That type of thing. It goes, they love that kind of stuff. And you interact with them. And I'll actually teach you a little bit about how to do those reminders too. And then short and simple and interactive are the things. Now, next video, lead. How to lead the group. From there, how to grow the group. So make sure you click on the box above here, and we'll get you going on the next one. This is Mike, reachkeep.com. Thanks for joining with us. Don't forget, if this is helpful for you, hit that little subscribe button right over here. We appreciate that very, very much, and we will see you here on the very next one. God bless.